Hi friends, you're watching Self Mastery Zone, and this month in the lockdown period in India, we have decided to record some of the interviews of learning leaders across the industry. And this month you will find some really interesting insights, knowledge, and resources which are getting shared by these learning leaders that will help you in your journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy these learning sessions. As well as the compilation of these poems, and it's so interesting. So Manish, help us dive a little bit more into that well, and realize that what is the vision that guides Sacred Well, and what is the vision that guides such amazing experience this that you are documenting now as books. What is the vision that you?
Yeah, it's a great question again, and I keep connecting with that. It brings me back to the well every time, and I think what I envision is a world without divides. I envision a world where we are able to rise beyond our societal, communal, racial, class, uh, gender, generational divides, and these divides that uh, break us, that create so much of structural violence on ourselves. These divides that kind of sanction the armors to be there where they are, and they rob us from our right to love. And that is there in every being. Our soul, I feel, longs to belong to each other. Our soul longs to merge, to dive into that collective sacred well, but we get stuck. And that's what my work as a consultant into many systems challenges, whether it is a business reality or it is a UN reality, I think we get stuck with our structures. And these structures are mostly mental structures manifested into roles and organizational paradigms. And the longing, my vision is that we develop a capacity where we can see these structures and know that they are in service of the moment, and that we have capacity to go beyond and create a world where each one is honored, where there is no poverty. I mean, there will be some or other kind of resource struggles, but we learn to share, not just at personal level, but also at a global level. And we are able to get unstuck from these divides, these struggles, this I versus you, this othering, this seeing another religion or another race or another group of people as different and difficult. If we go beyond that and embrace our true diversity and true meaning of being human, I think that's possible, and I feel that is already happening. And contribution of people like you and me is to create spaces where people can meet their true self, which is a limitless, boundaryless human, to see what humanity truly means, and then take that insight to actually rebuild our organizational paradigms. So we serve from that consciousness. We serve the whole, not just limited to our own personal needs. And in that sense, we have better care of the earth, which is a manifestation of these divides, the societal divides, the ecological divides, and our own self divide, spiritual divide. So that's the vision I see. And in other words, I was thinking, this is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, right? This is not my vision. This is the vision of humanity. This is the vision that has been there. The earliest human being, the Ubuntu in Africa, or Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam in Indian Vedic scholars and spirituals dreamt that the whole world is a family, and I am there because you are. And I think I want to take it beyond just a good ideal and philosophy to actually bring it down to what it means at a grounded level in everyday life. And when I say that, I know not that I'm fulfilling it all the time. I fail and fall, but I rise again and again, dust my clothes and work on this because that's what I believe in.
Okay. Wonderful. In fact, your vision in itself has got some learnings for all of us, and the basics of being human. So I could relate back to the first thing that you said, that it's the child which is the flower, and we all are born with the same kind of innocence, same kind of humility, same kind of connection, the universal brotherhood that you're talking about. Then these armors that we have built around in the process, or by the society, or in the whole sense of making sense of all this nonsense, is where we are going very far beyond this flower. And I think your journey in itself has been rediscovering this flower, not only for you but for people around you and the community of learners who you are inspiring. So I think that means a lot, and this vision is something that is igniting many more visions. So I think it's a network of wells that are getting created, and network of people and communities which are circling around this noble vision, and it's definitely going global, and people are connecting, and people are realizing that now there is a bigger purpose, or the bigger intent that they have to serve. And in a similar direction, I see that a lot of this transformative work you have done with thought leaders in this field, like Peter Senge, or Professor Otto Scharmer, or Arawana Hayashi. So what was some of your learnings, some of the key learnings that you got from your coaches, that even you would like to share with our young learners who are watching this and who are also starting in their journey of this transformation? What are some of the key insights from your mentors and from your own discovery process that you want to share?
That's a great question, and I think that would I would like to spend more time with that question and another separately to contemplate. But let me say what just comes to my mind in context of our conversation. One thing I think that Vasu always used to say and says now, self as an instrument of change. And it was looking within that, how am I a microcosm of what I want to shift in the world? What is paining me or what is troubling me about the world outside is often a reflection and a projection of what I have not fully accepted within. And that's a very powerful thing to understand, because often our life goes in blaming and shaming others, shaming self. That's the game. And that's where the trading armor for a flower is addressing that. The first part is about blame, and the second part is about shame. So, and the third part is to move beyond the power game. So actually, so that's the insight I got, and it not just an insight, but also learning, because Vasu as a mentor would challenge me constantly whenever I would do that. And similar thing, Peter Senge talks about. He once told me that you can't change a world if you don't see your thumbprint in it. And what does that mean is that if you don't see that you are creator of this mess, you anyways don't have any power to change that mess. You're a powerless victim, and victims don't change anything. So I took it that way. So it's important as a systems thinker to see that how I am enabling, how I am part of this reality, including my not doing anything is also a part of the reality. So that thing was very essential, to look within, to understand how I am creating this and what is the inner journey I need to take to be able to manifest. I think other thing that I also am very grateful to Arawana, and all of them say that in different ways, but Arawana makes it so beautiful. it was most recently we were talking about what's social art, and she says living life, the way we live life. And that is really noticing life and accepting our humanness. And that kind of switched my paradigm, because I saw myself as a transformation consultant. But after meeting Arawana, I felt and working with social presencing theater and going to Vipassana retreats, I started wondering that what are we really changing? Change is happening anyways. So who are we? And I think in some way, we have to get out of what the Gaia, the earth, the universal energy is evolving anyways. And that capacity to sit, notice and accept the phenomena is very essential in this world today. In one of our, as you know, we do the social presencing theater where we use our activate the wisdom of the body by using the body to create shapes about how we experience reality, and then and create social sculptures and allow them to inform what the future wants to emerge. And in one of this activity, one young man noticed that somehow our sculptures are not moving towards well-being, but they're moving towards more sadness. And is the future going to be sad, was one question which many of us struggled. And his response was, maybe we have not grieved enough. And I love that response, that we need also spaces and capacity as leaders to grieve. And this may be unacceptable to the masculine psychology, which is like, no, I'm tough, I'm going to fight. Hold on. If you don't know how to cry, you don't know how to fight. In native tradition, till a warrior learned how to dance and how to cry and how to fall in love, they were not given a weapon. So they were wise. And I think somewhere we got to create those spaces to see life as it is. We are in middle of COVID-19, locked in our homes. It creates sadness, it creates fear, and our capacity to notice that without running from it is the first task of a warrior. And that's, in other words, is sitting next to your own well and noticing the void, noticing the depth, noticing that overwhelming sadness which we are confronted with. And then that would help us to be more compassionate, to relate to others as human. I think that's a very essential capacity for coming century, if you ask me. We talk about EQ. EQ is empathy, and empathy is, in other words, in a poetic way, I would say empathy is our capacity to sit with a broken heart, to see how my heart breaks many times a day. And I'm not just talking about breaking in a love, falling in love kind of way, but also breaking when our hopes are broken, when we accept our vulnerability, our heart feels sinking a little bit, and noticing that. And then that gives us capacity to notice how others are. Before we say, oh, that particular man from that religion, that refugee, we also get in touch with the father who is fighting to give livelihood to their children, because we have noticed our own struggle as fathers and our father's struggle. So we relate to the father and not just with a refugee with X religion. And that opens our heart, because then there is an opening where we don't know what's going to happen. That's another space, not knowing, which we are uncomfortable with. But once we open, that's also another teaching from my teachers, is that start with the place of not knowing. This learning was given to me by a woman I met, mayor of a county in Philippines. She's no more right now. She gave me, start from the place of not knowing. So when we don't know, we feel our heart is full that, yes, there are people suffering on our borders and people suffering in our quarantine facility, and people suffering in so many places. And we still don't know the solution. That's the opening. That's when the deep innovation will take place. And I think that's our challenge. That's the real. I call the warriors to sit first with the suffering and then really stand to say what we can do about it. It's easy to find quick fixes, but that's done. We are done with that. Quick fixes only create problems for tomorrow, as Peter Senge says. So yeah, so this is, I'm kind of channeling a mix of many of my teachers, and I think there is a teacher within us, which is intuition, right? Intuition. That's also a teacher. So I'm just channeling that a little bit for the purpose. And I've learned so much from you. So much from you, because you, yeah, go ahead.
I would say that lot has come from your side, and then I can still think of this one particular quote that you said the other time in that workshop, that any intervention is only as powerful as the person leading the intervention. So that has stayed with me for quite some time, and it's about becoming a better version of ourselves and connecting with this profound realization that at the end of the day it's the empathy or being human that matters. And if we cannot design solutions which are maybe for a unborn child or a father who is making both the ends meet, be it from any country, any religion, or any strata of society, I think then we are not doing justice to that calling that we have. So yeah, there's a lot of profound insights in what you're sharing. Friends, hope you liked the learning session and the insight shared by our learning leaders. And to continue to gather more information, gain more insights, please subscribe to this channel and share the videos and share the learnings. Thank you so much, and all the very best for your learning journey.